In the 30-year history of the UFC has definitely had their share of ultimate bitter rivalries. From Tito and Ken to Tito and Chuck to Jones and Cormier to Silva and Sonnen, Khabib and McGregor, all of them have reached new heights and have taken the sport to another level. However, there is a new rivalry brewing in the UFC that can be today's modern version of Jones and Cormier and Khabib and McGregor, and that is Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis. But how did we get here? How is this rivalry now considered one of the best and biggest, and not only that, the most darkest rivalry in all of mixed martial arts? It's a mess, so let's get into it. So Israel Adesanya, I made a video saying how he is possibly bad for the middleweight division. Nonetheless, he's an exciting fighter, he's an entertaining fighter, he's a professional, he's a champion's champion, and he'll show up when needed to be. But he's running out of asses to kick. And that's why I was very concerned as to why Dricus du Plessis was able to fight Robert Whittaker, if he was even able to get the job done. Luckily, he was. But that is a contender for Israel Adesanya, especially now with the prehistoric beef that they will share in front of the entire world. So let's rewind to March 1st when Dricus had this to say about potentially becoming yet another African champion.
Well, I mean, did those belts ever go to Africa? As far as I know, it came to America and New Zealand. I'm going to take a belt to Africa. I'm the African fighter in the UFC.
He's alluding to Israel Adesanya, Kamaru Usman, and Francis Ngannou, basically because Israel Adesanya moved from Lagos, Nigeria to New Zealand when he was a kid, something out of his control, but that is a fact. Kamaru Usman moved from Nigeria to Dallas, Texas, and around the United States of America, currently resides in Florida and Colorado, my home state. And Francis Ngannou, who was born in Bati, Cameroon, who then moved to Paris, France, and now currently resides in Las Vegas. He is basically stating facts. Everyone is pissed because that's like saying a Mexican who was born and raised in Mexico then moved to California and they're almost considered not a Mexican at all, when that's clearly not the case. They are Mexican through and through. But nonetheless, that was a pretty bold statement by Dricus du Plessis, but it was also a very true statement because, again, he said, I breathe African air, I'm in Africa every single day. But again, that's just simply not the case, and I felt like that was totally uncalled for. I wouldn't say it was offensive, I just feel like it was halfway right, halfway wrong. This was before Israel Adesanya regained the title back from Alex Pieta and won it in devastating fashion, and he was looking forward to beating up somebody special.
I want to whoop his ass so bad. I want to whoop his ass so bad. I want to do it in South Africa or Nigeria, and but he's got to do work. He's got to do something. Show me something so I can whoop that ass and I can show you history. I'll remind you, because you got to choose your words wisely when you speak on people that have come before you, people that paved the way for you. You got to pick your words wisely. You want to try and be a big boy. You want to bamba. You want to G with the big boys. You got to choose your words wisely, but I don't want to give him no clout. But if he does work and I pray to God he keeps winning, I will gladly drag his carcass across South Africa. Wallahi.
A few days after those scathing remarks from Israel Adesanya, Dricus had this to say on IG. So you won't say my name? That's smart. You better not. I don't need your airtime at all. I have my whole continent of Africa behind me. Go enjoy your very spectacular victory at home in New Zealand. UFC Africa is far from being done, at least another year. I'll meet you on neutral ground this year, and if you still feel so strongly after facing me and I take your belt home, I'll give you another chance to come and try and face me on my home soil of Africa. We are Africa, we fear nothing and certainly nobody, with a ton of hashtags to follow. So already we're off to a hot start. Dricus is still standing on everything he said. Rightfully so. I wouldn't back down from that regardless of the situation. But still, Israel is trying to make it seem like, oh, you know, this is what's what. I want to fight in Africa. And Dricus is like, I'm ready to fight right now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it's becoming a cultural, iconical thing. And many people don't know the brutal history that went on between whites in Africa and blacks in Africa. I don't have enough time to go over that, but I'm pretty sure you guys could Google all that stuff. But nonetheless, you know, when coaches get involved, that's when things get serious. That's when you know that this is truly personal, in my eyes, that is, because Dricus du Plessis' coach, Morné Visser, had this to say. As a coach, I don't believe it's my place to get involved with the politics between the fighters, but today I do. Dricus has been crucified by many watching him fighting in the UFC for his gas tank. Well, here are some facts never disclosed to the public or his opponents. He has just had a nose surgery, which was supposed to happen 3 years ago. Total oxygen intake through both his nostrils of about 8% for the last 3 years. We signed with the UFC knowing this, but we also knew that you don't say no for any fight that the boss man Dana White offers you. We fought 3 times in the last 7 months, crushing our opponents with almost no oxygen during the rounds. The problem was fixed last week, so Izzy, you are in the shit. With your one-dimensional fighting style, we are not going to wait for the UFC to come to South Africa. We will take the belt from you in August this year, and if you are still in the game, you can come and try to take it back in South Africa when the UFC comes to South Africa. As proven, Dricus, the real African with a African passport, finished his careers like in his last 3 fights in the UFC with only 8% oxygen. Just imagine what he is going to do to you. So at this point, it's obvious Dricus and his coach are going for the neck, no strep throat. I can't remember a rivalry that has gone this deep on race or religion other than the Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor rivalry. But I may have been a blind witness in the moment during that time leading up to their fight, because I don't really remember Conor McGregor speaking on Khabib's religion that much. Maybe you could help me out in the comment section by letting me know what Conor really said, because again, I don't really remember Conor saying anything that bad. Nonetheless, Dricus had a fight to worry about, and boy did he pass that test with flying colors. He went out, mollywopped Robert Whittaker. The last guy to finish Robert Whittaker was Israel Adesanya 4 years ago, and that set up probably the most highly anticipated fight of the year, definitely the biggest rivalry since Khabib and Conor. Israel went in the cage, hyping it up, maybe had a few too many, and was saying the N-word repeatedly. Now, I'm not going to put up any pictures or any videos because I want you guys to look me in the eye so you could understand what I'm trying to say and get a sense of where I'm coming from. I've never spoken about race on this channel, and I don't plan to speak about race going into the future of this channel. But why do black people call each other and other races the N-word? Why? We all know what that word means. Why was it okay for black people to drain the poison out of that word and use it as a term of endearment amongst themselves? But yet a Mexican can't call a black person the N-word, or they can't even call other Mexicans the N-word because black people will then get offended. White people can't definitely call them the N-word because that'll just lead back to years of sorrow and rage and all that stuff that I don't even want to get into. Why is it that a Chinese person can't call each other the N-words, but yet black people can? That doesn't make sense. It's a bad word. Why use it when you know what it was used for? So the fact that Israel Adesanya was using that to Dricus, it didn't offend me. It made me a little bit uncomfortable because I'm like, why? That word just makes me uncomfortable. There's a reason why it's blurted out in rap music, because we all know what it means. And at the end of the day, I just feel like nobody should use it. But nonetheless, Dricus was still hyping up the fight. He kept it in the fight aspect as far as the post-fight press conference went, and he was looking forward to the fight. But the biggest, the most shocking thing to happen since Dricus' fight was Dricus might not even fight Israel Adesanya after all. And who's stepping in? Well, why don't you hear from the champ himself?
Dricus the pussy. You fucking bitch. Oh, all you had to do is put on some gloves. I was ready to go again. No, you weren't. You're a bitch. That's why I'm not taking this fight. Your foot sore. My knee was jacked too from my last fight. Guess what I did? I showed up because that's what a fucking champion does. Championship caliber. Built different. A lot of you fighters talk about, oh, I'll fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. No, you won't. I do. Alex Volkanovski does. We're built different. I'm at the gym right now. About to get some work. So, I'm fighting in Sydney. I don't give a fuck who. Dickless, the pussy. Dickless. Fuck off. You're out. Strickland, you're in. Let's do the man dance. Show you how to really dance. Yeah. But yeah, I title what you guys talking shit about. I can fight. No, you can't.
I mean, Mornay Visser, Dricus' coach, said, we'll take the belt from you in August. But that was before the Robert Whittaker fight was ever even announced. The UFC just signed a new deal, TV deal that is, with Australia, and they plan to go to Sydney, Australia on September 9th, September 10th for you Aussies. And to headline is none other than Israel Adesanya. That's what people are speculating, and that is most likely the leading candidate to headline that card. And many people are thinking that Dricus would be on that card to fight Israel Adesanya, and it would be a huge sellout, and it would be a perfect way to kick off that new TV deal. However, that's 2 months removed from Dricus' last fight. And again, it was a very impressive win, but he also got a few licks in that fight. It would be asking too much for anybody, not even Dricus du Plessis, anybody to turn around on 2 months notice to fight for a world title, especially when Dricus has never fought for a world title before. So who's the other leading candidate? As Israel Adesanya just mentioned, Sean Strickland is the leading candidate. I think that's a perfect match. I really do. Especially for the build-up. Sean presents a lot of problems for Israel, but the build-up will be quite insane because Sean Strickland simply don't give a fuck. But nonetheless, I feel like with Dricus not planning to fight on September 9th, I feel like this fight is becoming a little bit marred and the hype is becoming a little bit taken away because now this is all going to be on the back burner. Israel is expected to win, and of course that hype will come back when Dricus and him fight. But nonetheless, I don't know what is going to happen. I just feel like the hype is taken away with Israel fighting Sean rather than Dricus right off the bat.